Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about the process of making module feeders for your T-TRAK railroad module. So this tutorial will be for N and HO scales. Of course, most of us are doing a T-TRAK, which is an N-scale entity. We're doing this in N-scale. But these same electrical products also apply for HO scale as well, both using the Kato electrical components. So we're going to be wiring our module for power. So here's the back of a module that I have laid out. And this module is wired for track power and for accessory power. You can see there's red and yellow for track power, and the white and black for accessory. This particular module has a separate loop. This is a tiny little Z-scale module. It has a little DC pack for running a little separate loop. So I provide it 12 volt power. That's what the white and black is for. But these modules, the way I build module feeders, and people will differ about this, what you need for a module feeder typically is you need two of these. So these are Kato 24 8/1/8. They are uni joiners on one end. They'll insert between any two track sections that you have on your module. And you've got two tracks, so you need two sets of these. This is the core of what T-TRAK electrical at the module level needs to be. It needs to connect to the track at one end, and it needs to have Kato connectors. They have different names for these, Tamiya connectors or Mini Molex connectors, but they're the connector that comes with the Kato electrical. That's the important thing. I actually use Kato products to make the feeders, so there's no question. I actually use these products, and I actually create a two-part feeder. So looking behind me at the module here, you can see that the track power and the accessory power come up to the back of the module, and then it's cleanly cut off the back of the module. So I can pick up this module, throw it in a bin, throw it in the back of a car. Don't have to worry about it. The internal part of the wiring is secured permanently. It never has to move. And then I have, for N-scale, you would have a pigtail like so. For this particular module, Z-scale, and we use power pole for the connector to the bus. So this is actually the connector to the bus. But in N-scale, you need an adapter piece that goes onto the back and gives you the correct Kato ends for your bus. So what I do is I take two of these Kato products and I chop them precisely in half, and then I put the power pole products in the middle, and you end up with this. Let me sit you down here so we can not make you quite as dizzy. So we end up with these products, or this kit, I guess. So I build these as a kit. So uni joiners at one end, Kato products another end. All retail kit manufacturers include the correct cutout on the back for these. This is something that took place years ago and has continued on. I've worked with CMR and made sure that they're putting these outlets on the back for Z-scale modules. But any retail module kit you get, it will have the correct cutout for this part. That's what that square cutout in the back is for. So I make this kit to fit that retail module perfectly. These go through the bottom of the module, and this is on the outside and connects to the bus. Okay, so I've gone over that enough. So you need two of these, 24 8/1/8. So when you break them out of the pack, the important pieces are these. So two uni joiners at one end, and Tamiya connector or Kato connector at the other end. So you're going to need that. You're going to need the power pole products shown here. Sorry, I've got kids downstairs being loud. You're going to need the power pole products below. So you're going to need red, yellow, and black connectors. And you're going to need the smallest crimp size. I'd have to look up this. I believe it's 16 to 20 gauge, I want to say, but it's the smallest size. That's what you want. So there's the power pole products you'll need. You'll need the outlet itself, and you'll need the roll pin that secures the outlet to the connectors. All right, so you're going to need some basic tools. You're going to need the automatic wire stripper. Very handy, got to have it. You need a pair of dikes or flush cutters to separate the blue and white wires as you're making this kit. I use flush cutters, very handy. You are going to need the power pole crimper. This is an off-brand. This is maybe a $30 tool. The official power pole tool is ridiculously expensive, but this is pretty reasonable, 20-30 bucks, somewhere in that range. It does all three of the sizes. We're going to be using the smallest size here, the 15 amp size. And the last thing you'll need tool-wise is, I have this out. You can also use a small screwdriver, such as this. But what you need this for is, actually we'll use a screwdriver for this tutorial, but what you need this for is, after you have crimped onto the wire, so you put your wire in here, you've crimped this down, this is tiny and hard to push through. It's a very small wire. You're not going to be able to push this through so that it clicks and connects. So what you'll have to do is lay this with the wire connected, and you'll have to use a little helper tool to push through, and you'll push this down in here and it will make a clicking noise. I'll show that in just a second. So you need a helper tool. I believe there's actually an official Anderson power pole tool, but you know, you've probably already got something that'll do the job. So we'll do one of the just one of the wires very quickly, just to show kind of generally what I'm doing. You should already get the idea, but so all I do is line this up like so and go to the other end, and I snip this loop. Now you have two identically length pieces, and this is, so I am doing just one of the two tracks, right? So this is one wire. You're going to have to do the same for the other, but you'll end up with 4 of the power poles on each of these wires. So you'll do red and black, yellow and black, let's say, and then you have another another wire that you'll need to do the same. It'll have the blue is black, so always put the black connector on the blue wire. Your color is always on the white wire. I always do black on the darker color, but blue is black. That's the correct way to wire these. So let's just take one of these examples. Let's go ahead and put a connector on just so you can see what it's like to put one of the connectors on. Just going to do one just to keep this video reasonably length. All right, so you pull this back a fairly decent amount, and you're going to need to strip the wire off the end. Now, here's the trick with this. With this small crimp, this crimp it's very small, but it's not small enough. I mean, you can see this whole wire with the jacket will go in the crimp. So this crimp is not small enough for this wire. This wire is really too small for the crimp. The way to get around that is to strip an additional amount of this wire and twist it so that it's all stranded together and twisted, and then fold it over. It gives you double the thickness. It lets this crimp bite into the wire, makes it secure. So when you are pulling the insulation off this wire, you want to leave extra. Normally you would put a wire in a stripper like this and hit the stop here, but with this, what you need to do, you need to let it hang out a little bit. So there's your strip. And I'll flip it, I'll twist it over. If I'm a little awkward, I apologize. I'm doing this through the camera, watching the camera to do this. So we'll double it over and pinch it together so you end up with the doubled over wire. And put the crimp in there. Stick it in there, crimp it down. All right, that's It's crimped down. It's not going anywhere. You need to repeat this for as many wire ends as you have. All of your wire ends need to end up with the same metal crimp on the ends. Then once you get done with that, white color means that you're going to put one of the colored ends on here. Blue means you have a black connector. So you need to end up with a red and a yellow going to the inside. So a red and a yellow here on this end and two blacks. And then on the other end over here, you end up with a red and yellow and two blacks here. So again, we're just going to throw one on today just to kind of get through this and get the video not much over 10 minutes, hopefully. Where is my screwdriver? All right. So I will put the connector in so that it is facing the correct way, and then I will just pop it in there. And of course the one that I pick does not pop in correctly. It's because I had it upside down. I guess I should show this. The hump, this upwards hump, this should go towards the hood. This larger part of the connector had it in backwards. So like this. Put it in like so. Yeah, put the tip of the screwdriver inside, and it should just go right in and snap. And that's in there. That's in there solidly. And you can tell, you can see the little hump is at the end. There's a little tab that holds it in there. But that's connected in there solid. Now, you need to repeat this another 7 times. So 4 here and 4 here, okay? To put the outlet on, I put the colors, up or down doesn't matter at this point, but the colors should be either up or down, so like so. Now, if you look through here, you can see that this hole lines up. When I slide the connector, the hole goes away. All right. So your pin needs to go into that hole, and that makes these flush. If you do the wrong hole, then these are extended. That is incorrect. You need to do them this way. So what you need to do is use the roll pin. I'm not going to do this because this isn't really assembled the right way. You put your pin in here and you press that roll pin through. The best way, or the specialty tool-free way that I do it, is I take the crimper that I already use, and you'll notice that one end of it is fairly scratched up, and you'll notice the other end is scratched here as well. I use this to push this through like that. And that is it, and you will end up with this piece. The alignments of the hood are in the T-TRAK guide, the electrical guide for T-TRAK. They're in there. The one that Terry wrote a couple years ago, they're now being voted in as a standard. So from the power supply, the hood is up, color up, hood up. The receiving end, which is what a module connector would be, for example, or a bus extension, is color up, hood down. But just use the T-TRAK guide. It has the color arrangements and orders. It has all of that in there. Just follow the pictures. And then once you're done, you should be able to snap this in. And that's it. You now have a kit. Apologize for going over so long. I know this video's a little long, but I'm no good at video editing, so I have to do these in one take. So that's it. I hope you enjoy. You can see here I have a number of other of these kits to put together. These are actually going to, these 6 are going to Bruce. One last thing I do want to touch on, I send these out without the red or the yellow marked. There's only 2 wire bundles. You can figure it out when you get it, which one's which, pretty easily. But you're going to need to mark which one of these is red and yellow to assist you. I like, myself and some of the local guys like using thin electrical tape. You can get these in a multi-pack at the local hardware store. And you can wrap it around the wire to denote which is yellow and which is red. And I have an example here here. So this is another one I previously done. It's not super pretty, but it gets the job done. It shows you red and yellow. But I ship these without colors installed because people like to do the colors in different ways. Some people like doing tape. I've also found that other people are using oil markers, oil paint markers, which I'm going to get and try as well. I think that's a pretty interesting idea. You just paint yellow or red directly on the connector here. So ship these without color. People can figure out how they want to mark them. But look, this video's run 15 minutes long already, so I'm going to end it here. Hope you had fun watching. Thanks.